there, welcome to the UkeStuff channel and welcome to this full UkeGuide review of this instrument. This is the KoAlana KCA-10SP Laminate Sapele Concert Ukulele. KoAloha surprised the world by releasing these in February of 2024 with basically no forewarning. Nobody had mentioned them at all, and it represents a big change in the KoAlana line. KoAlana has been KoAloha's attempt at offering an affordable entry-level ukulele for fans of the company for years. And to my knowledge, there have been 4 versions of the KoAlana. I have 3 of them. I'm missing one. The first one was a Chinese-made mahogany model. I have one of those, and they were basically all reclaimed by the company and destroyed. There were some issues with them. Second, there was a KoAlana model that actually became the Opio models that are available today. So you can find a KoAlana that's basically an Opio model. And then third, there was a laminate Trembisi that was a gloss or monkey pod, and I have one of those, and then there are these as well. I know KoAloha is very excited about this model because they're working in China with these, and there are a million possibilities for them now of different versions of this instrument that they can make. They start with a very basic laminate sapele. It looks like a very basic entry-level ukulele, which is what it is, with KoAloha styling. So that's what we're looking at today for this instrument. A couple things I want to mention. First of all, if you want to support the channel here, there are 3 things you can do. You can like the video, you can subscribe to the channel, and you can always buy me a cup of coffee to say thank you for making this content at www.buymeacoffee.com/UkeStuff. The second thing I want to let you know is that these are long videos. So I do record a 1-minute ukulele review with the main points of my review. But you can also skip the parts of this video that matter to you, or you can actually go to my website or blog, which is UkeStuff.info, and look at the 1-page UkeGuide summary of everything that's talked about in this video. So those are opportunities for you if you don't want to sit through the full video. What we're going to do is we're going to look at subjective categories that I look at with all instruments. Then we'll talk about the specifications. Then I'll summarize the instrument and give it a UkeGuide rating. So let's begin with the subjective categories. The first is cost. I have seen these as low as $185. I believe the list price is $210 for these models. So this one paid for, shipped, and with a setup was $233 from Aloha City Ukuleles, which is in Illinois. So a little more expensive than the $185 or $189 that you'll see other places, but setup was included, which is a significant charge at some other stores. In terms of value, you get the ukulele with the KoAloha styling and a decent gig bag. Now, the bag could be improved. If you watch this channel, you know that I like bumpers on the bottom of the bag. I like a hanging tab. I like padded shoulder straps. The handle is partially padded, so I'll give it there. But it's basically the same bag as the previous model of the KoAlana series. So it's not a terrible bag. I'm glad it's connected or included, but nonetheless, there could be some improvements. And this instrument could also utilize some strap buttons, which I'll be putting onto it very soon because I'll be taking this to school and, you know, carrying it around with a strap on as I work with my classes. That said, it is beyond a rosette, that I believe is a transfer rosette, and beyond the KoAlana logo. It's slightly different than the KoAloha logo, but it's still roughly the KoAloha logo and your KoAloha crown. Beyond that, some decent tuners, and you know, the styling of the musubi sound hole with the transfer around it, which makes it look a little bit like a red label. I mean, the red labels are that next level of KoAloha custom instruments. That said, it's still a laminate ukulele. So you go and look at the basic entry-level ukuleles that aren't stained really dark, you know, instruments. There are so many that have this same sort of quality. Now, it's good laminate, don't get me wrong. You can see that it's laminate, so there have been some discussions online of people that have said it's sapele, and then people get angry because it's laminate. No, it's clearly laminate sapele, but it's built very traditionally. It's built very cleanly. We'll get into that. But at the same time, it is just a laminate entry-level ukulele. So as a result, you know, comparative models are going to be anywhere from other companies, from Amazon onlys to, you know, I'd say $70, all the way up to some other ukulele companies, probably in the $100 to $120 range, whereas this is going to be much more than that. And so, with all honesty, the price exceeds the value for this instrument, unless you want that KoAlana styling, and then that's the only way that you're going to get that. That appeals to me. I like KoAlana as a company. I like their instruments. At school, I like the ability to bring an instrument that looks like KoAlana that isn't. So that appeals to me. But if you're just looking for pure value, this is not the instrument for you, if I'm totally honest. It's not a bad instrument. We're going to talk about that. But it's also not a value. So do keep that in mind. In terms of build quality, I saw one online that had a very noticeable seam where the neck met the body, but this one is very clean in that regard. You know, you get the shimmering of that laminate and sort of the way that it diamonds where it's been, you know, bent. You know, a pretty top that has some, you know, laminate flame to it. You get the rosette and so forth. The frets have popped a little bit. I know it was set in smooth when it arrived to me, but here it is March in Wisconsin, Minnesota, Twin Cities area, and the frets have started to pop on me a little bit, even though the fretboard is bound. You can see that the fretboard is bound a little bit. The tuners work just fine. Everything else looks good, but just so you're aware of what you're looking at there, it's well built, in my opinion. And one of the things we're going to do is take a look at the inside of it, so let's do that now as well. So I use an endoscope to just take a look at the inside of the instrument. Just as a note, the inside of an instrument doesn't mean that an instrument is good or bad, but it does let you see the care with which an instrument has been built. So as we go inside, I call this the Uke Cam. Here we go. You can see the label up front. It says designed in Hawaii. As we go back on the inside, you can see it's good quality laminate. Very clean build on the inside. There's a little bit of glue right there, but nothing bad. Okay, trying to reach back far enough, you can see that it has a central brace right there. There's the bridge support. And yeah, generally a very, very clean build with traditional, you know, sort of bracing. All right, let's look at the upper bout. Okay, looking at the upper bout, you can see that it's, again, very cleanly built. You've got notch kerfing on the top and bottom. You've got a horizontal brace, and you've got your neck block. So you can definitely install strap buttons on this ukulele as well. All right, and that's our quick look at the KoAlana KCA-10SP Concert Ukulele. In terms of availability, I do understand that this original order is selling out pretty quickly. So the next iteration of the KoAlana may not be exactly this, or it may be more of this. We're not sure. We're not sure where the company is going to go with this. If you're interested in one of these, either check the large ukulele, the KoAlana dealers, and see if they have any in stock, or watch for them used on the used market because they will land there eventually as well. Now, as it comes to playability, this is where my biggest knock is on this instrument. It was set up so it is super easy to play. The action is ridiculously low. Not so low that it causes buzzing, but you hardly have to press at all because of the setup that Matt at Aloha City did with this instrument. That said, the negative aspect of this modern KoAlana is the neck. The neck is C-shaped and super, super thick. So if you compare it with a standard KoAlana, it's very differently shaped. And I have contacted KoAlana and shared with them that I I really wish that they could make the decision that their necks are going to be their necks regardless of what instrument that you buy. And if their supplier is making this neck for them, give them the CNC files that are used to make the other KoAlana necks, which I believe are imported, I think from California to Hawaii. Let them have those same measurements and put those necks on here. And if you did that, this instrument for me would jump up in rating quite a bit, significantly. In my thought, the playing experience from a KoAlana, same size, whether you're playing a KoAlana from Hawaii, whether it's mango, whether it's the Koa models, the mixture of the two, the rare occasions they did mahogany at one point, or whether you're buying an Opio, which is Thailand built models, or you're buying a KoAlana, the playing experience should be the same regardless of the brand or instrument. And the dimensions of the neck should be able to be transferred around. That's my biggest knock. And the neck is actually so thick that it gets hard. One of my favorite chords is E7, and that neck is so thick that it makes it actually harder to play that particular chord. It's so much so that I may take this instrument eventually to a luthier that I know and ask him to reshape this neck. I'm not joking about that. I would not do that on most ukuleles, but since I'm not getting rid of this one anyway, I may have him do that and then finish it with a satin finish. It might be worth it to me to have this neck reshaped differently. So that is my biggest complaint. If I were to tell you not to buy one of these, again, you can buy a equal priced laminate and get a better instrument, or a lower priced laminate and get a better overall instrument, and most of that comes from this neck issue. So that is a big deal for me with this one. And I have contacted KoAlana. I'm a huge fan. I own a number of their instruments, but this just is too thick. It's too thick for this instrument, and it impacts the playability. So it's really the one giant problem with this instrument. The sound quality overall is pretty good. It's bright and lively. It doesn't sound really tubby at all. It also has very light fluorocarbon strings on it, which I am fine with. I like a bright sound as long as it's not too bright. So if this was a spruce top, it would really cut through too much, but this is right in a sweet spot for me. So the sound is good. It's not overly loud. You know, KoAlana is known for having super loud instruments with their build. I mean, it can bark with volume, but it's, naturally it's not that loud, but it is a brighter tone. It's not unbalanced, but it doesn't really have that laminate tubbiness to it. So the sound is actually pretty decent. It's just that neck issue. One of the things I do in these videos is I let you see what I'm hearing by playing into the app Tonal Energy Tuner. So I play the C chord and I let you see what's happening with the Harmonic Energy series. Here we go. It's got good sustain, and it also has overtones that are occurring. So those are both very good things. And you can see it doesn't really have that tubby laminate nature. So they did well there. It's just the neck that needs to be addressed on particularly the concert model. I've not tried the tenor or the soprano. All right, now that we've talked about the subjective categories, let's get into the specifications. It is a concert ukulele with a shorter than 15-inch scale length. It is a concert ukulele, but it is only 14.8125 inches from nut to saddle. It has 18 frets with kind of just over 13 to the body. It has side position markers at 5, 7, 10, 12, and 15, and it has those on the front as well at 5, 7, 10, 12, and 15. It is a traditional double bout ukulele. The soundboard, back and sides are all made of laminate sapele. The fretboard is supposed to be made of Recon rosewood, which I think is basically, basically a plywood rosewood, which is fine. It works just fine. And of course, there are also bound edges, although the frets do sort of pop through a little bit. And the bridge is also made of that Recon rosewood. It does not have a radius fretboard. The nut and saddle are said to be bone. The finish is a standard satin, laminate finish, as you can see. The overall length is just over 23 inches. From the tip of the KoAlana crown to the bottom of the instrument is 23.0625 inches, and it weighs 1 pound, 1.5 ounces. So it's, comfortably light, and it's well balanced for the most part, even with the bigger KoAlana headstock. It has unbranded closed-geared tuners that are sort of tilted in that KoAlana way. The action at the first fret, and again, I cannot say that yours is going to be set up like this. Again, this was purchased from Aloha City with setup. It's only 0.29 millimeters at the first fret for action and 2.06 millimeters at the 12th. So it is really, really low action. No problems with it though, like buzzing, even hitting it hard. Matt did a great job with this setup. It's set up extremely well. Don't know how much he had to do to make that happen, but very, very good action on this one. The nut width is almost 38 millimeters, so it's 37.90 millimeters, which is actually wider than your standard KoAlana. And the space at the first fret, that's where I measure it, is 9.15 millimeters between each string for a total of 30.19 millimeters G to A. So kind of, it's a little bit on the wider side, but just by barely than your standard instrument that you'd pick up that's a 35 millimeter ukulele. And then here's the real negative. I measured the depth of the neck at the third fret. So from the top of the strings to the bottom of the neck, it's 21.19 millimeters. And that can be deceiving if the instrument tapers off quickly from that deepest point, but it doesn't. It is a very much round, half of a baseball bat C shape there. In fact, that'd be a really wide neck to hold as a baseball bat as well. So again, I may end up taking this instrument to a luthier to work that neck shape a little bit to a shape that I would like better. All right, now that we've gone over the specifications, talked about the subjective categories, let's get into the summary of this instrument and give it a UkeGuide rating. So early 2024, February of 2024, news of this instrument drops in the ukulele world, mainly because of a release from the KoAlana dealership or a KoAlana dealership in Japan, where a person is demonstrating this, and no one that I knew this was coming. Maybe the dealers did and just kept it under wraps, but it was a surprise. And I am a fan of KoAlana, and I am a fan of a KoAlana that I can take to school with me. I get a little concerned about bringing my full KoAlana or my OPO models with me because unfortunately students don't understand boundaries as they used to. And I'm not going to make a comment with that. It's just a fact. So students will be more than happy to go up and just touch your ukulele, grab your ukulele, drop your ukulele without your permission. Now, I wouldn't want somebody to drop this one, but if they drop this one versus my full KoA model, yeah, you can see which one I'd rather risk that. So this appeals to me because I like KoAlana, I like the company, I like the aesthetics of KoAlana, so it's nice to have a laminate that I can take with me to school. And again, there are some things that I'm thinking about doing with this one, such as having the neck worked on, adding strap buttons, and that's pretty much it, really, to make this instrument a better instrument for what I use it for. So with that said, these are made in China. Previous models have been made in other places. It's kind of returned to China because the first model of the KoAlana was also Chinese as well. So that said, it's a standard entry-level laminate ukulele, perhaps slightly better sound than some, really thick neck, and it's perfectly acceptable. The price is probably too high for the instrument. Now that said, you need to remember that KoAlana is a company that's located in Hawaii, and it's very, very expensive to live there. I watch one person who runs the Ukulele Friend website and store, and he posted not too long ago a loaf of bread was something like $12.89. So if you put that into your mindset as well for what a company needs to sell a product for to survive, that also explains this. So that makes sense. This is not being shipped directly from China. It's being ordered by a company in Hawaii and then distributed through their dealers, and that price would reflect that. So it is going to cost more than a comparable model from another company. And if you want the KoAlana styling, that's what it's going to cost you. That doesn't offend me, but if you're a bargain shopper, this may not be the instrument for you. Ultimately, it's a decent little instrument, but with the cost and with the neck in particular, there are some other little things, like, for example, I wish that whatever they did the rosette out of, they would have done that logo with out of two. That would have been pretty cool, so maybe that's a suggestion for the future. I wish the bag had some minor changes. But again, because of just comparison, the overall price and the neck issues, this is a 3.5 out of 5 for me. Now, I say that you can buy any instrument that I rate a 3 or above with a pretty clear conscience. It's not going to be an awful instrument. It's going to be an okay instrument at the very least. This would have some work to be done. But remember, the price point has dropped from the previous KoAlana as well. The previous model was, I believe, a $279 list. This is a $210 list. And you can buy these for as low as $185 online without a setup. So 3.5 stars. It's hard for me to give that rating because it's not a terrible ukulele, but that neck really influences me, as does the price tag that goes with it. Not a bad instrument, but again, can't give it a 4, can't give it a 5. I'm going to be recording a comparison of this with the previous generation of KoAlana, plus a comparison with an OPO. That one is low G, but still, it'll give you a mindset. So watch for that video in the near future as well. All right, thanks so much for watching the video. I hope you're having a great day, and I'll be back soon with some more Uke stuff for you.